So in 2009, I was diagnosed with colon cancer stage 3, and I was diagnosed actually on New Year's Eve of 2008, and then I saw a gastro for a colonoscopy on January the 2nd of that year, and by the 7th I had a colon resection with
Took out 18 inches of it.
and 17 lymph nodes. I think it was 15 or 17. And I started chemo pretty soon after that, and then got sick with gallbladder problems.
Had emergency gallbladder surgery right in the middle of chemo.
So they had to stop chemo for a while. And then I finished that with a lot of damage from the chemicals, central nervous system damage. The doctor actually said that I could never have chemo again, and that if I did, that I'd spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair. So I continued to have my test, and he said I didn't need any more. And I said, well, it's the end of the year and I've met my deductible, so let's just do one more MRI and CAT scan. I was allergic to the contrast, so I had to have different tests. And so that test came back that I had a small spot of cancer on the back of my liver.
How big was it?
Smaller than a dime.
Okay.
And had 80% of my liver removed.
By Dr. Schroff.
And didn't need any chemo follow-up. And my tests after that for 7 years were all perfect.
And you got all clear margins.
Yeah. And so I was discharged in 2012. No, 2017 is cured.
Yeah.
And now they think I have Parkinson's disease. And that's not why my throat's messed up.
Well, your throat's been messed up for a while.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that started? Because we both gone through it.
I think it started when because I developed high blood pressure, and they put me on different medications. I take 2 different kinds a day, and also thyroid medication, and all 3 medications cause hoarseness. So I got the triple whammy.
Okay.
I don't know, because I didn't know it was this bad. I don't know if it clears up some days or if it's not as bad some days.
And some days it's better than others, like mine. Mine came after I had my prostate cancer surgery in November of 2020, which was 5 hours long. And when I came out of that surgery, I've been hoarse ever since. So.
It's probably from the airway they put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we both went through that.
Oh, yeah.
You twice.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then we got our COVID shots.
Yes.
2020, Johnson & Johnson. We got the first one. And then we got the second booster.
No, just the booster.
The booster.
October the 28th, 2021.
Okay.
We got our booster.
And what did you feel when you got that booster?
The technician at the pharmacy hit some nerve in my
left arm?
Upper arm. And I've never felt such pain. It felt like fire was shooting out of my fingertips. And my tremor in my hand started that night. And I thought it was caused by her hitting the nerve and that it would just calm down. But it's never stopped.
And what's happened since?
I have a tremor in my hand. Jim
In
tells...
your four fingers of your left hand.
No, sometimes... Well, yeah, I guess. No, my thumb moves too.
Yeah.
It's not constant. I can still use it. In fact, if I pick up something heavy, it stops completely.
If you grip it, grip something heavy and pick it up?
Well, really, if I use my whole hand, gripping is sometimes floppy.
Okay.
Jim says I walk a little slower, and I don't swing my left arm like I did. But I just recently read that studies were done that showed that completely normal, healthy people, even athletic people, some people don't swing their left arm at all. Even though it's supposed to balance you, it's not a sign that is 100% indicative of neuro disease. It can be just that a habit, or it just said unilateral was not a positive sign, one way or the other.
Okay. So we spent 2 years in lockdown.
Yep.
From from the end of 2020 until 22. And then what did we notice happening about your walking?
Well, my knees had started hurting in 2018. We were doing the movies, and it seems like they chose all the older people to do the stairs. And we were doing like the Fox Theater, and we would go up and down 50 stairs.
That's a pretty awful place.
12, 14 hours a day.
Right.
And my knees got swollen and very painful. It was really bad. Just everything we did, whether it was a baseball stadium or a coliseum, we had to climb stairs. And
Well, over at the Gwinnett Center, we had to go over to the hockey rink where we went and saw the Gaithers a number of years ago. And we had to walk up and down those doing the mosaic. So
tiling, it's called.
Tiling is called, yeah. And so that was a lot more stairs to go up and down and sideways.
Yeah, for hours and hours and hours. And then what do? They blur you out so they can't tell faces.
Right.
So.
And then we even did the hotel across the street from the Fox that had a bunch of stairs as well.
Yeah.
Up and down stairs over there. So what's really happened with your walking since then?
Since when? Since we stopped doing.
Right.
I'm not as in much pain because I'm not doing the stairs. I have trouble going up and down our split level house stairs.
Right.
But
and you can't walk long distances?
But I sat for 2 years.
Right.
So after you sit for 2 years, you can't just get up and walk
Right.
a mile again.
Right.
So after COVID, you went back to work and I didn't. And I still sat. So I basically sat for 3
Another year
years.
after that, yeah.
Yeah. And I had gained weight, which I've lost. Worked on that and lost that because I had gained about 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And so now my knees are, when I wake up in the morning especially, they're stiff. And by the time it's time to go to bed, my knees are much more fluid. But I have trouble with squats, different knee activities that they recommend on YouTube. I have trouble with them, even things like lifting your knee like you're marching. I can't. I have to take my jeans and pull them up to make my knees come up. I can't just lift my leg.
So what made you start to think about the possibility of Parkinson's?
You.
Oh, me?
I was walking down the hallway and you said you're walking slow. And I thought, no, I'm not. And you said, yes, you are slower than you used to. So I looked it up on the internet. And then Nick said something about because he had looked it up too. And it said that your arm wouldn't swing as much. Some days mine doesn't swing at all, but I've spent my whole life hanging on to shoulder bags, purses,
Yeah.
with my arm folded up. So I never was an arm swinger. And I can make myself do it. I don't know if it's the same as when I make myself do it. But
Well, we walked up and down the hallway, and you managed to get the swinging arm part pretty well.
yeah.
But you have to really think about it.
Well, if I think about it, I do it wrong. I just can't do left, right. I feel, so.
Well, it's hard to think about doing it the opposite.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So now you spent weeks and weeks looking at all this Parkinson's stuff on YouTube,
And
and
I've learned a lot.
what have you learned about that?
Well, I've learned enough to know that if I go to the specialist in
And that's in when? And
October,
yeah,
there's only 1 in 100 miles who's an outpatient neurologist who specializes in movement disorder. It's a young woman who has MS. But,
we go on the 9th of October for that,
right,
the day before our anniversary.
yep. But she's also a doctor of osteopathy, so she's not, she has an extra 2 years where that type doctor doesn't just say, here's a pill, go away. Or let's go take them, $500,000 worth of tests that won't show anything.
Right.
Because there is no test for Parkinson's. They just do it by
Symptoms?
symptoms and watching you. The only way to diagnose for sure Parkinson's is an autopsy, and I'm not ready for that yet.
That seems like an awful price to pay. Just to find out that you may have something, but oh, by the way, I'm already dead.
Yeah. So I've learned that exercise is the only thing known to stop the progression, and by time you have any symptoms, you've lost 60 to 80% of the dopamine in your brain. So I want to exercise.
Which you've been doing every day.
Yeah. Well, I had to take off a couple of days when I overdid it.
Right. It's okay.
So I've also learned that Parkinson's won't kill you. You'll just wish you were dead.
It's a real pleasant thought.
Well, who wants to drool and pee in their diaper,
Yeah.
and make their family take care of that? I don't.
Well, I am. Just the way it is.
Yeah. But I don't have to change you or
Well,
anything, because you
that's
can
why
get
I'm
around.
still capable of that. Yeah, that's one of the bad side effects of having prostate cancer is being incontinent. So.
Yeah.
But we did buy you a treadmill
which I have trouble even moving at all.
Well, and we'll get started with that once you feel better about doing it, but you at least could walk up and down the hallway a little bit to help. And you are going to go see Dr. Colpini next week
Yeah,
about your knees
yeah.
and see if there's anything short of surgery, which you won't have.
Right.
There's something that can be done about that.
So, other things I've learned about Parkinson's is that the jerky movements that you see on TV that are so upsetting is caused by overdoses of the medication. And the medication does not stop progression. It only stops or helps with the symptoms. And you really only need to take the medication if the symptom is interfering with your quality of life, which mine are not.
Right.
So I won't take the medication unless I get to the point where I'm too stiff. Side effects are things like rigidity, slowness, muscle stiffness, bad posture. Those are all, I'm doing this exercises for all that to try to keep my posture straight
Right.
and my head up and anything else that I find, like even like hand stretches. It also causes a lot of things I don't understand. Vision changes, breathing changes,
Right.
choking on food, which I picked up on in my
Right.
anxiety brain, and the slightest little thing on my throat, and I think I'm going to die from aspiration pneumonia.
And that's been in the last few months where that's really become an issue for you. Making sure that we don't eat the wrong kind of foods that can get caught in your throat.
Well, it's things like the first thing that happened was we had bought some cheese, and I wanted Triscuits and cheese, and you don't eat Triscuits if you can't swallow well, because that's like eating straw. And as soon as it hit the back of my throat, I panicked. And as soon as I panicked, I was never going to swallow it. So, and then I tried nuts because those are good for dopamine. And I can't eat nuts. I can't eat rice. And I can't eat things like ground beef.
Right.
Any little thing that touches the back of my throat panics. It throws me into a panic. But anxiety, depression, some people have. I don't know if this is with once they start the medicine causes things like hallucinations and paranoia, and people get up and do crazy things at night. People will start gambling, having affairs, spending money on. There was one guy on TV who, in the middle of the night, ordered a $40,000 airplane loader. What is that called?
The conveyor belt?
No, it's the stairway that they walk down.
Right.
And his wife got up and was able to contact eBay and explain that it was his medication and his disease that was causing it. And they did cancel it for her. But,
Okay. Well, we'll come back and we'll continue this conversation at another point.
I'm hoping I can fix my throat a little.
I think we both would like to be able to do that.
Yours sounds perfect.
So, but
Right now.
not right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, thanks for having this discussion with me. And I'll see you on the other side.
Other side of what? Okay. Bye-bye.